So, Assalamu alaikum, all of you. How are you?
Fine, thank you, ma'am.
Fine. Thank you for coming at this time for me. In the previous class, we were discussing about the barriers, and we discussed the whole chapter about what are the types of the barrier and how we can overcome that particular those barriers in different situations. So today we will start our new topic of this particular course, which is 7 C's of communication. So let me show you the slides first, then I will start the topic. So what do you mean by 7 C's? Have you ever heard about these C's? Ji beta, do you know
मैम
about these C's?
मैम आपकी आवाज़ हल्की हो जाती है दरमियान में।
Acha, I am asking, do you know about these C's? What are these? Have you ever heard about it?
नो मैम।
Okay, so effective communication is when you have 100% response from your receiver's side. Okay, so in order to make that process effective, in order to make your communication effective, Murphy has given you the 7 C's to make your communication effective. These are the 7 C's, like there are seven terms which you can follow while writing your message, while speaking during your communication, and by following these particular terms in your communication, you can make your communication effective. And why he called these words 7 C's? Because each word starts from the C. You can see first one: completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, clarity, courtesy, and correctness. Okay, so we will discuss one by one all these C's, that how we can add these particular terms in our communication to make our communication more effective. Okay, so before moving towards one of the C, which is clarity, I just want to tell you that this is a technique. Okay, that how you can make your communication effective. Either it is a written communication or either it is an oral communication. This particular strategy is for both discourses, for oral and as well as for written. Okay, so whenever we discuss one by one, when we discuss these 7 C's, you will come to know that how technically you can make your communication effective. Word by word, choice of one word even can make your communication more effective. So this is very technical thing in English, that how you can add these terms in your message. So first one is clarity. So clarity, as the name suggests, that your message should be clear to your audience. But how we can make it clear to your audience? There are different ways to make the message clear. That here it is written that getting the meaning from your head accurately to the reader is the purpose of clarity. So clarity is that whatever you have in your mind, that should be in your reader's mind. Okay? So that is 100% effectiveness when you add the clarity in your communication. But there are different ways to add the clarity in your message. You can choose precise words, concrete words, and familiar words. Okay? Precise, uh, shortest or lesser words to communicate your message, and concrete, which are more they can more visualable, visualizable, that they can visualize by reading your message, or familiar words which are not familiar with them. For them, they know about the meaning of those words. It means don't use difficult vocabulary with your audience when you know that they can't understand your word, whatever you are saying. Okay? So At the same time, when we are saying that don't use the difficult vocabulary, at the same time we are saying that we have to use precise. Like if we have to select a phrase or a word, we will select one word instead of a phrase. But at the same time, we were saying that if we are having one word which is difficult, we will prefer a phrase to convey the meaning. Okay? So these both are sometimes opposite to each other. Precise word or familiar word can go opposite to each other. But what you can do whenever you have to select one from these two, either you have to select a familiar word or one word which is more precise, you will prefer, or you will always prefer familiar word. Okay, we will see the examples further in this particular slide, but I'm telling you that whenever you have to choose one from the precise word or from the familiar words, you will always go for familiar words. You will not take any chance for selecting the precise word. Next one is construct effective sentences and paragraph. So these are the two ways for things making your message more clear to your audience. Clear means whatever you have in your mind, they should have the same in their minds. But we will discuss one by one how. Choose precise, concrete, and familiar words. That there should be a balance between precise language and the familiar language. But always there should be a language balance, but always don't put your familiar words on stake due to the reasons of selecting the precise word. Selecting exactly the right word to convey meaning. Concrete word, which is more appropriate for conveying that particular message, that would be more a right word or familiar language. Now you can see the example. Let's suppose familiar word, pay or remuneration. Uh, which word is more familiar for you? Remuneration or pay?
Pay.
Yes. So you will not use such kind of difficult word which you think that most of your audience will not understand. You will use this word pay or bill or invoice or statement of payment. So at this time you are selecting one word which is bill or invoice, which is more familiar for your audience as well, and you are avoiding of writing number of words or which is also unfamiliar, which can be unfamiliar for your audience. Okay, unfamiliar assessed valuation or familiar property value for text purpose. This is where you can see the example of difference or a clash, you can say, between familiar word or precise word. Now you can say that assessed value. I think I don't know. I don't think that any one of you know about this particular term, assessed value. Okay, but if we say property value for tax purpose, now we can understand what is it. But we will use this term which is more familiar for us and for our audience as well. But when we are using this, you can see that this is not precise. Precise, this word is more precise, this unfamiliar word is more precise, but we are not taking chance of selecting a precise word on an familiar word. We will always select the familiar word because at the end our main purpose is to make our message understandable for you, for our audience. Okay, so if they don't understand, if they are unable to comprehend whatever you are saying, so what we can do with having the precise word or concrete words. So at the end, our main purpose is to let them understand. For that reason, if we have to negate the precise thing and we have to follow the familiar thing, we will do it. Now you can see the example after this is unfamiliar. After our perusal of pertinent data, the conclusion is that a lucrative market exists for the subject property. So, how many of you understood?
मैम ये तो अनफेमिलियर है.
Huh. So it will hinder your communication, your understanding, because you are unable to comprehend the whole message. So you can make it familiar by using simpler language, or by saying that data was we studied show that your property is profitable and in high demand. Now it is understandable. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how you can make your message clear. Now, whatever here written, we when we read it, we understood it. Okay? So this is the clarity of how you can. This is how you can make your message clear by using familiar language. Now, business jargons. Jargons are those which are specific to specific field. ठीक है? Your field, architectural field, may have different words, and in the science field, they might have their own terms and their own specific terminologies. So these jargons are related specific to a specific profession. Avoid when communicating to a lay person. So whenever you are communicating with a lay person which is not professional, which is not expert in your field, you will avoid using those jargons, and you will use the simpler language whenever you are communicating with a layman. If you must use the term, explain briefly. And if you use those particular jargons or terms related to your field to whenever you are speaking to any layman, you have to explain. Remember, you all were telling me in the class regarding different terms you use in your architecture field, and I asked one of you that what does that mean, और आप लोगों ने फिर मुझे एक्सप्लेन किया था कि मैम ये जो पता नहीं क्या वो इंचेस होते हैं या कुछ वो आपका कोई टूल है, एंड यू वर टेलिंग मी अबाउट दैट कि इसको हम ये कहते हैं, इसको हम ये कहते हैं. तो one of you were what he was doing, I said what is that, so he was explaining to me. ठीक है? So in order to make that thing clear for me. So that is the thing. Whenever you are using your jargons related to your field, avoid using in front of the in front of those people who are not professional in that particular field. Or if you are using, you have to explain those words clearly. So, conversational words which we use traditionally, like acknowledge receipt of, are in receipt of, as per our conversation. So, these are very cliche words which are conversational. We have to avoid these kind of words, and we have to use simpler language. And we can use instead of using acknowledge receipt of, we can use thank you for. Are in receipt of, we can use have. Simple, one word, precise and familiar. Okay? And as per our conversation, and as we discussed, so as we discussed is more precise and more clear. So this is how those conversational words which we use, which we used to use, we have to avoid those such kind of cliches, and we have to use familiar and very precise and very clear words in our communication. So now you can see that I am telling you different phrases and different words which you can add in your communication. So this 7C is not a theoretical thing which you can understand. Okay, we should have clarity in our mind. How we can add clarity? By using this word instead of this word. Okay? So you have to keep these phrases and these words in your mind, how you can change it. Like at the earliest possible date. Cliche, traditionally it was a conversational phrase which is being used for professional conversation and for business conversation. But we have to avoid it, and we have to use simpler and familiar as soon as. At the present writing, simple, we can use now. At your earliest convenience, as soon as you can. So this is how you can replace those conversational words with the simpler and familiar words. Second thing, first thing was that to use precise, familiar, and concrete words in order to have a clarity in your message. Second thing is use effective sentences and paragraphs. Now, We are going to talk about the sentences and paragraphs. Grammatical statement, when clearly expressed, move thoughts within a paragraph. So in order to make sure sentences with paragraphs effective, what you can do, you have to focus on four things: length, unity, coherence, and emphasis. What is length? Length of your sentence. It should be between 17 to 20 words only. If you are having more than 40 words, you have to rewrite because that would be a lengthier sentence. If you are having less than 10 sentence, it is over simpler. You have to, or you also have to rewrite it again. Rewrite it. So the average length of your sentence should be 17 to 20. That will also make your sentence more clear. Second one is unity. As the name suggests, unity means there should be one main idea. If you are communicating and if you are writing something to communicate, there should be one main idea within your sentence and even in your paragraph. Okay, we are talking about the sentences and paragraph. So remember we discussed the paragraph writing in the previous class, in the previous course. And what we said that paragraph always have one idea. Okay, so there should be a unity and coherence. We talked about these things when we were discussing about the paragraph writing. Okay, so revise those strategies as well. That when we are writing the paragraph, there should be one main idea that will show the unity of the idea, that only all the sentences are related to one idea. Okay, and within the sentence there should be one idea. I have just written the example of the sentence, and the paragraph example, because we have practiced that example as well. I like Suhail and Eiffel Tower is in Paris. Can you see that there is no unity in these two part of the sentences? I like Suhail, and what is the relation of that thing with Eiffel Tower is in Paris? So there is no one idea, there is no unity in this particular sentence. Okay, so this is wrong. You have to discuss one idea within a sentence or within a paragraph. Coherence is that there should be organized organization or arrangement of your ideas. Okay? Unity and coherence side by side. When you know that you have one idea, so how you can make it more coherent? By arranging your idea in a when you are expressing that idea, you have to arrange that idea correctly, those sentences or those expressions correctly. You can see the example here. This is vague example. Being the chief executive, we can expect help from you. There is no organization. There is one idea, okay? But there is no organization. Being the chief executive, they are talking about that person, not chief executive. So you can surely help us. Second phrase should be related to that person. So you have to organize your thoughts according to your idea. So whenever you are talking about any person, in the second sentence you also have to write about that person. You can't talk about yourself. If you are talking about chief executive, you will also address that person in the second phrase as well. Okay, you can surely help us. So this is how you can make your sentence coherent. Emphasis, the quality that gives force to important parts of the sentences and paragraphs is emphasis. So the things which are important, you have to put emphasis on those things. Let's suppose little emphasis, the order was received and the manager started preparing for it. But better emphasis, as the letter was received, the manager started preparing for it. So by putting this word as, we put an emphasis on that particular verb. Now, if you read both these sentences, you can see the difference, that just putting the as word in that, we have made that sentence more clear. Okay? So this is the whole summary of the clarity in your message. that how you can make your message clear. Two things to make your message clear. First thing, to add precise words or concrete words or familiar words. Okay. Second thing is that you have to be very effective in writing your sentences and paragraphs. And for that reason, what you can do, you have to limit your length of a sentence to 17 to 20, and then you can you don't need to add more than one idea in a sentence or even in a paragraph, and your all ideas should be arranged in a coherent manner. So this is how, these are the 4 to 5 things which you have to keep in your mind in order to make your message clear. So in the next class, when I ask you about the clarity, that beta, what is clarity, you have to tell me these tips. Remember, 7 C's may, whatever tip I am telling you, that tip should be in your fingertips. Okay? You know about each and every technique in detail, that how we can add clarity whenever you are writing and whenever you are speaking. You should have these things, that if I have to make the message clear, I should have to use familiar words, or I should have to use precise words. I shouldn't have to use the sentences which are more lengthier, or I shouldn't have to add different ideas in a sentence, and my all ideas should be arranged. Now, this is the example. The airplane finally approached the speed of sound and it became very difficult to control. Can you make it more clear? Any one of you just try to make it clear. This is an activity you all have to participate in that. Just your idea, you could be wrong. It's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
चले मैं दोनों पढ़ रही हूँ. Being an excellent lawyer, I am sure that you can help us. Any one of you can give more clarity to in any one of these sentences.
मैम इंग्लिश में बताना है.
हाँ जी बेटा, इसी सेंटेंस को आपने थोड़ा सा चेंज करना है, because you will have such kind of sentences in your final term as well, so you have to practice. You will be having let's suppose you will be having this sentence, being an excellent lawyer. I am sure that you can help us. So how you can make bring clarity in this particular sentence?
मैम इसका ये होगा कि you are a very excellent lawyer, so you need to help me or us.
You can help us, yes. So you can make it more coherent, and when you will make it coherent, that would be clear for your audience. It is right. So anyone else who can tell us or who can bring clarity in the first sentence? Any idea?
Ma'am,
कोई? हाँ?
The pilot approached the speed of the plane, and it is very difficult for him to control the speed.
So let us see the answer. As it approached the speed of sound, the airplane became very difficult to control. So you just have to put an emphasis in that, putting the as. But being an excellent lawyer, you can surely help us. Iman was right in that, that we have to
मैम
be
इसका
coherent.
मैम ये फर्स्ट वाले का हाई स्पीड पे भी आ सकता है.
हाँ. आ सकता है.
ओके ओके मैम मैं यही करना चाहता हूँ.
हाँ.
मैम मतलब फाइनल में हमें ऐसे डिफिकल्ट देंगी या फिर इजी भी देंगी, हमने उनको डिफिकल्ट करना होगा?
Beta, you will be given such kind of statements in your final exam. And we will practice each and every statement in the class, and I will give you some sample statements as well. for
Yes.
practice.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this is all about clarity. Any one of you will who wants to rephrase whatever we have just learned? What is clarity? What you have understood about it?
हम क्लैरिटी के आपको सेंटेंस की ठीक से समझ आए, ऐसा सेंटेंस बोलें जिसकी समझ ठीक से आए।
हुसनैन थोड़ा सा लाउड बोलो।
मैम क्लैरिटी की समझ आइए कि आपने कहा जो कोई भी सेंटेंस अगर आप बोल रहे हैं तो उससे क्लियरली सेंटेंस के जो अल्फाज है उसकी चॉइस हो वो ऐसी हो कि किसी को समझाने में इजी हो।
ठीक है, word choice of words in order to make your message clear, right? So we talked about choice of words, uh, technique of writing sentences and paragraphs. So in order to bring clarity, you have to think from the words to sentences to paragraph. ठीक है? So this is all for today's lecture, and you know that you all have your quiz at 11. Um, uh, for that we you know that we had our class at 10, so I scheduled your quiz at 11. If you want me, so I can also schedule your quiz right now. Do you want me to schedule your quiz right now so that you can done with your quiz and you can go to sleep?
मैम क्लास कंप्लीट नहीं है।
हाँ,
क्लास कंप्लीट नहीं है इस वक्त।
अच्छा ठीक है। सो 11 बजे फिर रिमेंबर दिस थिंग दैट यू हैव 5 marks का quiz है, और you just have to write the name of the barrier, its definition, and you have to give the tips to overcome that particular barrier. Okay, any question regarding that particular quiz you can ask me.
मैम वो गूगल क्लासरूम पे आप करेंगी?
जी बेटा, I have scheduled your quiz just like the paper.
ओके मैम,
ओके मैम।
मैम अगर
ठीक है,
कोई लेट
so
हो गया तो उसको वैनिश कर लेगा पेपर।
बेटा that is I have given you the 30 minutes to complete that quiz.
ओके मैम।
ठीक है, kindly
मैम अगर हम लेट हो गए
late
अगर हम लेट हो गए तो 30 मिनट्स में ही हमने इसको एक्सेप्ट करना होगा।
but I have assigned that for 11 a.m. and you will be having 30 minutes till 11:30, and if there is any problem regarding your internet issue or any other problem, you can tell me, then I will extend the timings.
ओके
मैम अभी तो 9 बज गए, आप हमें अभी दे दे, बाकी 11 बजे कर लेंगे।
1 2 3 4 नहीं, अभी समझ नहीं आ रही।
हाँ,
हिस्ट्री
फिर
की
रहने दो
क्लास
11 बजे। अगर आगे भी करना हुआ टाइम तो मुझे बता देना, बस आज देना है क्विज। अगर सोना है, लेट क्विज देना है तो जस्ट टेल मी, आई विल एक्सटेंड द टाइम। आई कैन मैनेज योर क्विज एट 2 or 3.
मैम शाम को हो जाएगा।
यस मैम, आफ्टर जुमा ले लें फिर।
आफ्टर जुमा कर लो।
हाँ जी मैम,
Yes, ma'am.
अभी तो नहीं समझ आ रहा।
मैम 4 या 5 बजे के करीब।
चले ईमान, काइंडली टेल द होल
11
क्लास।
बजे ठीक था।
नहीं अभी
जुमा पढ़ने को यार।
यार अभी हिस्ट्री की क्लास है, आप लोग नहीं सो सकते हो। हिस्ट्री की क्लास का टाइम अभी कभी भी आ सकता है। अभी आप लोग क्विज कर लो, हिस्ट्री क्लास कर लो, एक दफा ही फारिग हो जाओ 12 बजे से पहले।
हाँ ये सही है।
चले ठीक है, you have your quiz at 11. This is final. So if you find any problem, you can contact me at 11. So till then, prepare for your quiz, because that same particular question will come in your final term exam as well. So thank you for coming at this particular time. Allah Hafiz.
अल्लाह